welcome to Rims and Ropes with your host DGSJ. I go by David. That's fine. Hey man, it's long overdue, man. This is the podcast where I talk about basketball and I talk about wrestling. I know it don't go together, but guess what? I'm gonna make it work. And without further ado, let's get straight to the news, man. Today is February 2nd, 2023, and they just announced the reserves for the All-Star game. So let's go ahead and start with that news. I'm gonna start with the Eastern Conference because I'm on the East side. So let's see what we got here. So we got Joel Embiid, Jaylen Brown, Bam Adebayo, Julius Randle, Drew Holiday, DeMar DeRozan, and Tyrese Halliburton. Let that breathe for a second. No Trae Young, no James Harden, no Jalen Brunson. Interesting. I'm going to go to the West, and then we're going to talk about it for a little bit. So now, the Western Conference reserves are Ja Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr., Lauri Markkanen, Domantas Sabonis, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Paul George, and Damian Lillard. Man, interesting here. I'm going to go back to the East, but right where I'm talking about the West, no De'Aaron Fox, no Anthony Edwards. This is an interesting All-Star game. And the fact that they're not doing the whole pick the teams on TV and they're going to pick them like right before the game, I think that's going to be so much fun. But I'm actually okay with this reserve list. I know we don't have a lot of stars. No Trae Young, like I said earlier. That is really strange that you don't have Trae Young. Yes, the Hawks aren't playing really well, but it's still an all-star game, right? It's not really too much all-production and great production game, which it should be. And I'm perfectly fine with the all-star list so far. No Anthony Davis. He hasn't played a lot of games. I don't want to focus on too much stats for this because this all-star. We're here to watch the game for fun. But like I said, this is pretty good. No complaints over here. I did want to see Anthony Edwards make it. I feel like he's honestly having a really good season. And plus, with Cat being out, he has more room to breathe and be the guy that we think he can be. The paint is not so much clogged, so he is not clogged so much, so he can actually operate in the paint and shoot the ball. But that's neither here nor there. Moving on, man. The Boston Celtics just put a wrestling size beatdown on the Nets yesterday. And I just wanted to touch on this really quickly. I still think the Celtics are the best team in the league. Yes, the Nuggets are doing phenomenal right now. Jokic is still looking like the MVP of the league. I still got Tatum personally. I think, whoever dominates the month of March is probably going to get this award. But with that being said, Celtics are still the best team in the league. I think they're going to put together strings of victories that, will cement them back to the top to where, it's not so debatable. Robert Williams being back in the starting lineup obviously helps the Celtics defensively, and he's a lob threat, so that always opens up their offense. There's more space out there because you have to account for Rob being down there. Al Horford is not so much, being overly used in the paint, things of that nature. The Denver Nuggets, I will say this about the Nuggets. I wasn't expecting them to be this good. I can't say it's still too early because we're pretty much at All-Star break, and that's a really good sample size for you to determine how good a team is going to be. Jokic is, I would say right now, number one as far as the MVP rankings goes. I got Embiid 2, Tatum 3. 3 is always interchangeable. You can always throw Giannis in there. You can always throw Luka in there. Guys like that, Ja Morant. Whoever you want to throw in there, you can at that third spot. But right now, it's between Jokic and Embiid. And like I said, I have Tatum a close 3. But the Nuggets are playing really good. I do want to see them do this during the playoffs. My thing with Jokic was I thought his production was going to go down once Jamal Murray came back and Michael Porter Jr. But his production didn't really drop. I think he was averaging 27 last year. I think he's averaged, or was it 29? I think he was averaging 29 last year. Now he's averaging 27. About 2-point drop off. He's pretty much averaging a triple-double. He's at like 9, maybe 10 assists, which is really good. I want to see them do this in the playoffs. I'm still not sold yet because there never really was a good playoff team. Like they were always a good regular season team. Jokic is always, a top 5, top 3 player, depending on what you value. It's another conversation for another episode. But I think the Nuggets honestly should get to the Western Conference Finals this year. With a little bit of luck, a little bit of health, we shall see. Hey, real quick, if you're not following me on social media, make sure you do that for me, man. DGSJ, yo DGSJ on Twitter, DGSJ on TikTok. Give me a follow, man. Say what's up. I might see you there. I may talk to you. You never know. Hey, moving on. Let's go over to the WWE side of the podcast. Hey, Elimination Chamber is going to be in Montreal, and I think these are pretty much the speculated matches for that card. We got Austin Theory defending his belt in an Elimination Chamber match against, let's see, who they got so far in there? Seth Rollins, Johnny Gargano, Brunson Reed, sorry, and some other people that's yet to be determined. I think that match will be pretty good. I know Bobby Lashley's probably going to be in that match. He should be. He's still been in that mix with the United States Championship. And we all know, his thing with Brock is ultimately the big match for WrestleMania. So there's going to be one way or another. Brock Lesnar is going to be involved in this match, setting up their WrestleMania match. So we'll see what goes on there as more episodes of Raw and SmackDown continue. We'll figure out and we'll talk a little bit more about that. The other match that seems to be happening at Elimination Chamber is Bianca Belair defending her championship in Elimination Chamber. And so far, I believe they got Raquel Rodriguez, Nikki Cross, Liv Morgan, Asuka, and some other people have yet to been determined for that match. Just early spoilers. Wanted to keep you guys involved with that. We also got probably Beth Phoenix versus Rhea Ripley, just to keep Rhea Ripley hot and strong and ready to get her championship match against Charlotte at WrestleMania, which I'm not a fan of. I honestly wanted Rhea Ripley to go against Bianca Belair because I feel like that's the match, right? The fresh faces, put on the big WrestleMania match. And I was assuming that Rhea Ripley was going to take the belt off of Bianca, but it looks like WWE likes what they get out of Bianca Belair and want to keep her with the title for probably the end of the year, man. Who knows? Bianca Belair is probably going to have a Roman Reigns, John Cena type of run to where, she's not really going to, she needs the belt for her character, which I don't really think she needs it. But it's really good to have a championship or a champion like Bianca Belair. And probably being the main event since it is in Montreal, your tribal chief, my tribal chief, Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn. Now, this is the match that's probably going to ultimately set up the end of the streak of the bloodline. And what I mean by that is this match is probably going to kickstart Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens going after the Usos, with Jay being the guy to ultimately get heat back on him and to, progress the story. Because the entire bloodline story revolves around Jay Uso and Roman Reigns, the right-hand man and the tribal chief, the head of the table. My guess is Jay decides to distance himself from the bloodline for a couple weeks, going into this pay-per-view. People aren't sure about Jay. And when I mean people, the audience are not sure what Jay Uso is doing. Is he leaving the bloodline? Is he staying? Is he still going to, acknowledge his tribal chief every week? Is he, hey, is he going to do all that still? Or is he going to side with Sami? We saw at the Royal Rumble that he left the ring when they started to beat on Sami. He didn't want to be a part of that. Jay was the main guy to start this entire story and be like, I don't trust Sami Uso. I don't like him. I feel like he about to backstab us. Main guy doing that. Jimmy liked him. Roman didn't really care for him. Solo's just listening to whatever Roman says. Paul Heyman didn't even have a problem with him. You know what I'm saying? And as the story kept progressing, Jay's like, I still don't like him. I still don't trust him. I still don't like him. And then when he finally likes him and trusts him, this happens. So what does that do? That puts Jay on the edge of the cliff a little bit. Like, you know what? I wasted my entire life, entire story to get you on my side. Finally got you on my side, and I have to turn my back on you. That being Sami. So now I think this is probably the match to where Jay Uso reestablishes his allegiance with his cousin, his tribal chief. And that's going to set up the big WrestleMania match where that night we may see titles leave the bloodline. It looks like they're doing the split, right? It's not going to be unified anymore. The Usos have been defending against, Raw tag teams and just defending just the Raw tag team belts. And they've done it on SmackDown as well, where they're just defending the SmackDown tag team championships. So it looks like maybe WrestleMania may be full of bloodline action. It's 2 nights to WrestleMania. Maybe they the Bloodline defends both championships on both nights. Maybe Roman, Cody one night, somebody else the other night. We never know what's going to happen outside of Elimination Chamber and around WrestleMania. So, hey, that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about today. Oh, one other thing. I've seen people speculating, what is Seth Rollins going to do since I was speaking on WrestleMania? What is Seth Rollins going to do for WrestleMania? And it looks like in the Royal Rumble match, it was teased with Logan Paul eliminating Seth. I think that is the match that's probably going to tear down the entire weekend. Logan Paul has had 2 matches so far and a Rumble appearance. And within that Rumble appearance, went viral with the big spot with Ricochet, right? They both jumped off the top rope and clotheslined each other halfway across the ring. Looked like some Dragon Ball Z stuff, you know what I'm saying? I think that match right there has a possibility to probably be one of Seth Rollins' best matches just because of how athletic Logan Paul is and the type of heat that Logan Paul could probably put on a crowd because people naturally don't like that guy and how hot Rollins is, how people love Rollins. That probably could low-key be probably the match of the weekend. No championship on the line, so they don't really have nothing to lose, but they both have everything to gain. Just imagine if Logan Paul beats Seth Rollins. Can you imagine what type of crowd that is if Logan goes over? The type of boos they're going to give Logan Paul for winning. Even if Seth wins this match, that's just going to propel him to go after Roman down the line if Roman Reigns is still champion around that time. Who knows? We may never know. But hey, that's going to be my time for today, ladies and gentlemen. Talk to me in the comment section. Let me know if I should keep doing this pod. But guess what? I'm going to do it anyway. And with that being said, man, I'll see y'all in the next video. I'm out of here.